What's up everybody, and today we're reacting to SCP-3998 The Wicker Which Lives. This is by Dr. Bob. Don't think I've reacted to this guy's content, so I'm excited to see what his animations are like. I really enjoy watching how well these creators make these animations because they vary a lot between each content creator. And they're also all really impressive, so I'm really excited to watch them more. But before we get started, a quick word from our sponsor. So we actually have some really cool SCP-related news to talk about today. The guys over at Paranormal Activity Books are putting together 3 incredible books featuring the most popular and interesting SCPs. The volumes will be stylized as research journals filled with articles, handwritten notes, and hundreds of professional illustrations. The style will also look incredible with its leather imitating hardcover, animated dust jacket, exclusive slipcase, and thick, high-quality paper. You definitely want something like this in your book collection. So the crowdfunding campaign is actually doing really good right now. They've gathered more than 200% of the goal already, and all backers, will actually receive other rewards like a free holographic patch, a sticker pack, an employee ID with a branded lanyard, a poster, a photo pack, a set of badges, a programmable access card, and even a calendar. And there'll be even more bonuses upon new stretch goals. They will also hold a giveaway of 30 vinyl toys at the end of the campaign. So who knows, you may be a winner. Definitely go and check out the link down below. It genuinely looks fantastic. I know I will be getting one and taking a look at it on the channel. Link down below, guys. But before we get started, members, you're amazing. I love you. I couldn't do this without you. I honestly couldn't make videos every single day if it wasn't for you members. So thank you for supporting the channel as much as you do. I really do appreciate it. Links down below to all my socials, including the 2 links to Discord, the military link and the geek link. The military link, join for all things military, joining the military, fitness military, and all that good stuff. And the geek link is for all things SCP, Star Wars, D&D, Warhammer, Metro, Halo, all that good stuff, everything in between, okay guys? Also, you find a link down below to my podcast and my Twitch stream where I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you cannot catch my streams on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we do scrape that and put it onto the second channel, Original Human Geek, the day after we stream. So definitely go and check that out. Link down below. I'll also put a link down below to the original video because obviously they deserve the credit. Make sure you go over there, like their video, and all that good stuff. But for now, let's shut up and let's react to some Dr. Bob. The Wicker Which Lives.
And as Hayes, we have thy confession. A witch as brazen as you shall be burned at the stake.
Okay.
The crowd gathered in the small room burst.
Before we get into this, can we just talk about how absolutely crazy it was that people thought like you're a witch, we're gonna burn you at the stake? Like, just think about that for a second. That actually happened. There's some crazy things out there, isn't there? Like, the idea that actually happened just blows my mind.
Into a cheer as the judge hands down the sentence. The accused woman doesn't react, though. She looks neither scared nor afraid, but simply resigned to her fate. No time is to be wasted in carrying out the punishment that the judge has decreed. A pair of constables grab the woman by the arms and take her away. A mob follows along as the woman is led through the town, taunting and jeering, calling her a witch, a wife.
All these people that called her a witch and stuff, probably the only reason they did it is because they didn't like her. That happened a lot back in the day, where people just didn't like someone, or they just didn't fit in with the town, so they called them a witch and they got them burnt at the stake. Which, if you think about it, is just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. How many times have you gone somewhere and just not fit in with people? Like, that's all it took.
Wife of Satan, and worse names. She doesn't seem affected by them, though. In fact, she looks as if she can't even see them. Her attention is focused solely on one mysterious woman who walks along with the crowd, and yet somehow seems disconnected, as if she isn't truly there either. The 2 women maintain eye contact as the constables keep pushing the condemned woman along. They lead the woman outside of town to a tall hill. The ropes binding the woman's hands are cut, and she has just a moment to rub her sore wrists before she is forced to the ground and lashed to a piece of wood as another group tosses the last logs onto a nearby pile. Once she is securely tied down, the constables step away. But then another man wearing a hood approaches. He carries a large club and without hesitation begins beating her legs. The woman's composure finally breaks, and she cries in pain from the cracking of her bones. The crowd only cheers louder at the screams from the witch. The beating has left the woman's legs mangled, but this is far from over. The woman, still strapped to the wood, is placed on the pyre, where she hangs like a scarecrow above the combustible material. The judge steps forward out of the screaming mob, carrying a torch. He loudly exclaims that for her crimes, she will be burned until dead. But the judge doesn't step forward. He instead announces that another will have the honor of lighting the flame. Another man steps out of the crowd and takes the torch from the judge. He walks towards the pyre and looks up at the woman. She is exhausted from the beating, but she lifts her head. She doesn't look at the man with the torch, though. She's looking past him, locking eyes with the mysterious woman who walked along with the crowd. The man looks angry, slighted that she won't even meet his eyes in this final moment, and without another moment's hesitation, he tosses the torch onto the pyre. The wood lights instantly, the tinder combusting and turning into a huge roaring fire. The crowd also erupts into even louder cries of celebration as the woman screams from inside the blaze. The man watches as the woman is lost behind the fire and the smoke, and eventually, her cries too are hidden behind the crackles and pops of the flames.
It's so sad, like, that happened. Like, it literally breaks my heart.
He doesn't move until the fire has nearly burned itself out. Most of the crowd has left at this point, having gone back to their homes, content with the role they played in doing the Lord's work. As the constables pull a charred torso down from the wood and unceremoniously toss it over a steep side of the hill, the man finally turns and starts to walk away, a tear rolling down his cheek. The judge approaches and places a hand on the man's shoulder. There, the judge says, attempting to comfort the man. You'll find a new wife soon enough.
Wow.
Hundreds of people were accused of witchcraft in colonial America.
Wow.
And while it is likely that many were falsely accused, there is reason to believe that some were under the influence of, or were themselves, what we now describe as anomalies.
That's really sad.
And SCP-3998 is just such an example. Better known as The Wicker Witch Lives. SCP-3998 is a human cadaver which dates from the late 17th century that is covered in fourth-degree burns and is missing its legs. There is also evidence of extensive blunt force trauma, but it is not known if the beating or the burning was the ultimate cause of death. At some point, the remains were collected and fastened into a scarecrow that is held together with wicker, nails, and wire. While a scarecrow fashioned from a cadaver is rather unconventional, what brought SCP-3998 to the SCP Foundation's attention were its other anomalous attributes.
I feel like this went from one of them, like, historical, this is actually what happened back in the day, because it did happen, that shit did happen back in the day, to straight into SCP, someone's tied it up into a scarecrow. It's just I love the transition from, like, historical story, which could be true, and there's countless, stories of that happening, straight into an SCP where it's really weird and bizarre and some creepy stuff happening.
It constantly secretes a flammable liquid from its bones that primarily consists of ethanol and human fat, and every night between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m., the corpse ignites. This fire doesn't cause any damage to the corpse, though, and it is unknown how it produces the flammable liquid or ignites. 3998 does not keep its flames to itself, though. It appears that the SCP targets those who have either killed or physically abused a romantic partner, causing them to catch fire as large quantities of boiling ethanol appear in their stomach.
Wow.
Their midsection will eventually melt and then explode, leading to amputation of the lower half of their body. The fire burns both incredibly hot and unnaturally fast, and is unable to be put out until SCP-3998 is extinguished.
I like this one.
A number of historical documents.
I mean, that's not a bad thing, is it? Someone who abuses women or murders someone, so they die. I mean, I don't wish death on anyone, but it doesn't seem like we're losing anyone bad here, does it?
Related to the case have been discovered and made available to Foundation researchers that shed light on SCP-3998, including excerpts from a 17th century diary belonging to a woman who lived near where the cadaver was discovered. In the entries, the woman describes attending the wedding of her neighbors, Aidan and Candace Hayes, though Candace did not seem
Ooh.
especially happy with the arrangement. Candace is characterized as someone who likes to keep to herself and who does not conform to the era's idea of a good wife.
Yeah,
As a
there you
result,
go.
it appears that she became the victim of abuse at the hand of her husband. The diarist hypothesizes that Candace has brought this fate upon herself due to her behavior, which may stem from her being under the hold of the devil.
I hate that shit. I hate it. Under the hold of the devil. Like, I just want to throw up.
In other words, the neighbor believes that Candace is a witch. Others must have had the same suspicion, because we also have records of Candace's interview with a Judge William Stoughton, who questioned her about the accusations of consorting with evil spirits. Candace readily admitted to this, though she disagreed that it was in any way evil. She told the judge that the rituals and magics she practiced were not inherently good or bad, and that anyone was capable of using the same tools. She went on to explain that she hated her husband, that she had been forced to marry him, and that he had been nothing but cruel and violent towards her. Candace also mentioned a name, Clovis, that the judge assumed to be the demon that she had made her cursed pact with. Candace appeared to offer no defense or excuses for her actions, and the judge sentenced her to die by burning at the stake.
Is this Clovis that woman that she was staring at? That's what I'm intrigued about.
With her husband, Aidan, being the one to light the fire.
There you go, on the right there, bottom right.
The story of this witch trial was typical of the time, and that likely would have been the end of what we know about SCP-3998. But another historical document was located that has truly given a new perspective to this anomaly. A sealed letter found in the cellar of a home that is addressed to Candace, though it appears to have been written after her death.
By the way, I love this story. Love this story. This is all the way up there with some of my favorites, like the Plague Doctor. This might be just as good as that one to me, because I love a good like comeback story. This woman's coming back and she's getting revenge.
The letter is from her secret lover and describes how they collected Candace's burnt bones from the bottom of the hill before binding them together with wicker and wire. The letter then describes how Candace's husband has recently restocked his own home with gin, which is well known to be extremely flammable. The letter ends with an affirmation of the writer's eternal love for Candace and is signed, Clovis.
Oh.
But perhaps the best information we have about the origin of SCP-3998 comes from an obscure local tale that was passed down orally for years and eventually documented on an urban legend website. The legend tells of a woman who promised her soul to a she-devil who taught her magic, but also offered companionship. When her husband found out, he contacted the local authorities and had the woman arrested. She was tried, her legs were broken, and she was hung up like a scarecrow before being burned alive. Her body was dumped off the side of a mountain, but the she-devil collected
This music in the background, like, what?
her bones and gave her life again.
Okay.
The need for revenge burned in the woman's heart, so in the middle of the night, she doused herself in her husband's gin, set herself on fire once more, and fell upon him as he slept, burning him alive so he could suffer the way that she did.
Yes.
SCP-3998 is currently held in a secure holding locker in Site-34 that is fireproofed and vacuum sealed to prevent it from igniting. Every morning at 9 a.m., 3998 and its locker are cleaned to remove the secretions of flammable liquid. D-Class personnel who have been convicted of domestic abuse crimes are to always be kept at the site to ensure that they are the targets of SCP-3998, which, when it's not allowed to ignite, will result in them only feeling mild discomfort in their head and chest rather than spontaneous combustion. Due to its relatively easy method of containment, SCP-3998 has been classified as safe.
This isn't really a bad SCP, is it? It's a revenge story, and it's a pretty cool revenge story. It's a sad one. But like I said earlier, like it's only going after people who abuse women, so I don't know. I'm not worried about it. Like I feel like that's not a bad thing. Like I really don't feel like that's a bad thing.
However, recent developments have caused the Foundation to rethink this classification. Despite 3998 being securely contained, the number of arson-related homicides in the state of Massachusetts have actually increased following containment, with many showing the same damage to their body as would be expected in a victim of SCP-3998.
Interesting.
And while it may be that these are the result of a yet uncaught serial killer who simply happens to employ similar methods of killing their victims, a recent re-examination of the SCP-3998 corpse has revealed more troubling
Oh, here we go.
details.
A little bit
The
something
body
else.
of
A little bit something else.
SCP-3998 does not belong to Candace Hayes, and in fact appears to be a male who was in his 30s at the time of his death. Following these new revelations, reclassification of SCP-3998 to Euclid is pending. Whether SCP-3998 is the body of Candace's husband Aiden, forced to endure an eternal punishment of burning again each and every night, or if it's some other unfortunate victim of a violent and painful death, is unknown, as is the ultimate fate of Candace and Clovis. But with the deaths that would appear to be attributable to SCP-3998 showing no signs of stopping despite containment, it can only be assumed that the Wicker Witch lives.
Okay.
Now go and watch another entry.
Awesome video by Dr. Bob, by the way. Animation was fantastic. Narration was incredible as well. So make sure you hit the link down below. Go to his channel, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Fantastic video. What did I think about that one? I thought it was good. I thought I really liked that story. I think it's a really cool kind of like revenge story, which I don't think is necessarily a harmful SCP to good people. You know, like I said, I don't think it's doing anything necessarily that evil. Let's be honest. It's just getting revenge. But the end of it there, where the body actually is a male body, really throws a spanner in the works and puts a lot of really fun mystery in there yet to be solved, which I think is fantastic. I like that little bit of mystery, but I also like that little bit of story behind it that is historical, but is also kind of, you know, it's kind of nice to I don't know, I like a revenge. Does anyone else agree with me? Like, this thing's attacking people who abuse women. Like, that, I'm not worried about that. Like, that's a good, is that a good thing? I don't want to hurt, I don't ever want to, you know, wish harm on anyone. But people who abuse other people really, like, frustrates me. Because I was bullied in the past. So it really frustrates me, and I don't find it really that bad of, you know, a bit of revenge. But yeah, I like that story. I really like that story, and I think it's up there with the Plague Doctor, in my opinion. And it's 3998, which makes me believe it's a relatively newer SCP compared to most of them that I'm reacting to. So, yeah, I kind of like that one. Maybe I should react to some more new SCPs. I'm also thinking of making a series, guys, called SCP Reviews, where I go through and I review actual SCPs on the Wiki. And if that's something that you think you would enjoy, let me know in the comments down below, and we'll go from there. But before we end, members, you're amazing. I love you. I couldn't do this without you. Links down below to my socials, including the 2 links to Discord, the military link, and the geek link. Also link down below to my podcast, my Twitch stream, where I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and my second channel, where you can catch previous Twitch streams and also D&D, because we play D&D on there. Yeah, I rate that one a solid 8/9 out of 10. I like that one, guys. I did. Until next time, guys, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.